I would say I get really frustrated by injustice, and I learnt about this issue when I was working in a Ukrainian orphanage, and I was chatting to a little boy that I'd been working with via a translator, and I learnt that he and his mum had been walking down a street one day, and a car had pulled up, and two guys had got out the car and kind of flanked his mum, and the third guy had taken him for an ice cream. And as he looked around, his mum was being bundled into the car, and that was the last time he ever saw her. Now, at that time, I hadn't really engaged with the issue of trafficking. I didn't really understand what slavery was. At the time, slavery wasn't even a term. We're talking 2008, so it was all about sexual exploitation and violence against women. Trafficking was known as a thing against women and girls. And it just really stuck with me that this little guy I was working with in an orphanage kind of had his mother taken away from him to goodness knows what, and there he was, and his life was now going to be kind of under this state system of an ex-communist country that wasn't going to be great. And that just kind of, there was an injustice there that then made me kind of go, right, I need to look into this. And the more I learnt about it, the more I became horrified that humans were treating each other like this, that kind of commodification of people for the purpose of making more money. And I think the more I learnt, the more I couldn't believe that people were doing this to each other, and yet the more it was obvious that it was. And then where was my connection with that, and what was I doing that might help proliferate that? And I just think it was that moment of learning about an issue that I found so unbelievably horrific that I felt I needed to do something. So we decided to start Unseen and set up, the first thing we wanted to do was set up safe housing. And I think naively we just thought, oh, okay, we'll just set up a safe house. And now what we realise is that kind of collaboration and influence, and if we want to work to challenge the system and to tackle it completely, we can't just do safe housing. And we say now we kind of try and take the voice of the survivor to the people that can then make the policy. So it's that micro to macro to make sure that that voice of the people who've actually experienced this gets heard, because I can talk about it and I can articulate it, but I haven't been trafficked. Therefore, my story, yeah, this is why I'm here, but at the same time, you can't powerfully tell those stories. So it's giving the people who have been exploited and haven't had a voice to make sure that that gets heard, and then that influence policy. Because actually, the guys sitting at Whitehall and in government kind of make policies based on, oh, we think this is a good idea, so we feel it's our job to make sure that connection is there for them. So if they do want to come and visit and understand what's going on the ground, they can do, and then hopefully that will influence the changes that they make, knowing that actually remembering, oh, we did meet that survivor once, and that's what they told us, rather than just kind of, oh, we've got a blank piece of paper, what are we going to do? So it's a bit of a waffly answer, but I think kind of my desire to help people and my absolute horror at injustice and the way that people were treating other people, I think is kind of what drives me. And then seeing, I suppose, our staff teams doing such amazing jobs with people who are absolutely spiralling out of control and free-falling, and everything in their life has been completely obliterated, and watching our incredibly skilled teams working 24/7 in such a dedicated way to get those people back onto an even keel and to help them reach independence. And I think that's what I love about Unseen and the teams, is that we know what part we need to play, and that part isn't to hold on to a survivor forever. It's to celebrate when they're ready to step out on their own, and it's to celebrate when they've reached a position of independence and resilience and can continue as their life journey without a label of being trafficked. And I think I'm so proud of everything the staff do to facilitate that, and I think that's really, really special at Unseen.